to Canada and Montreal at McGill University.
I went for summer school in 2013 at University of California, Berkeley. I went there for Gem Discoverer.
Gem Explorer. So what I did was I contacted people who had been to Canada. For example, my cousin, she went to the same university, so she gave me like all the contacts I needed to live there in Montreal. So actually the lady who helped me a lot when I was in Montreal, she came down to Singapore and I had dinner with her at my cousin's house. So like she gave me advice and like what to do, what I should do first when I get there and everything like that. Yeah. And I also emailed like some of the Muslim students who were already in Montreal for them, and they helped me out while I was still in Singapore, like finding accommodation and stuff.
Firstly, when I went to Berkeley itself, it was a solo trip for me because I didn't know anyone from exchange who went to over there. But alhamdulillah, when I was there, I met with other fellow exchange students who are from different parts of the world, like from China, from France, from Germany and stuff like that. It was during my class itself. So that was a bit of a culture shock, but then eventually we get to do group projects with them, and we have to do meetings with them, and yeah, they slowly open up and it's quite fine. There was one main mosque in Berkeley because Berkeley, surprisingly, there's a lot of Muslim people in Berkeley itself. So there's one mosque called the Berkeley Mosque, as expected. It's Berkeley Mosque. It's quite a distance. We actually managed to go there once for Friday prayers, and there's a lot of Berkeley students who were not in Berkeley itself. They stayed outside of Berkeley, who went there to the mosque just to meet other fellow Berkeley students in the mosque. So yeah.
There was a kind of a big mosque near my school. It was in Chinatown, but in Montreal itself, there are many different musallas or prayer areas around the universities. Because like the university, this is a university called Concordia, and they have a lot of Arabs there who go there. And McGill itself, there are a lot of Arabs as well, so they kind of cater to the students. It depends because I was there for summer, fall and winter. So in summer, the subuh was at like 5:45 and Maghrib was at 8 and Isha was at 10. And the days slowly got shorter. So in winter, subuh was at 6 and Maghrib was at 4:20.
The prayer time, because I went during summer, so their Maghrib is usually very late, so it's around 9 p.m. or so. Their Zohor is still around 1 plus. Their Asar is quite late, it's probably around 5 or 6. And then Maghrib is at 9, and then Isha will be subsequently around 11. So yes, I didn't pray in school, so my house is only 10 minutes walk away from school, so I would just spend my time praying comfortably at home. Before I went to USA itself, I actually joined a Facebook group, MSA, Muslim Student Association in Berkeley itself. But since it was a summer exchange, not many of the students are in Berkeley itself. So I actually, since I went to Zaytuna College, which is in Berkeley itself, so I met with some of the Muslim students who in Zaytuna College and some of the officers in Zaytuna College to just introduce myself, and they were quite helpful in telling me what are the things that I need to do, and the mosque, where's the mosque and stuff like that. And one of Ustaz Usama Cannon actually introduced me to some of the Berkeley students. He passed me their contacts to contact some of the Berkeley students over there in case I need any assistance in Berkeley itself. So alhamdulillah, even if the MSA students were not there and I was alone, I still have some group of people to actually fall back on.
There was a Muslim society in McGill. It was called Muslim Students Association. So it was pretty active. They had a freshman orientation. It wasn't a camp, but it was just one day. So I went for that, and like we met all the other Muslim students, year 1 students who were coming. There's also a Syrian Students Association. Even though they don't specify it's Muslim, but usually it should be Muslim. Yeah, so like the MSA, like they set up musallas in different areas in the school as well. Yeah, and it's a pretty strong organization, I should say.
I think it's quite expensive. It's higher standard of living. I feel per lunch on average is around 15 USD for one meal of like I don't know pasta also. So that's quite expensive. So usually what we did was together we just buy meat and then buy chicken and stuff like that, and then we just fry and have a meal together. So that's cheaper.
Okay, it's kind of expensive in Canada. Actually, the groceries are quite expensive. But like what I did was like, anything on sale, I would just buy it. And yeah, you can't splurge. Like you can't go to restaurants often. The accommodation costs. No, the transport costs were pretty cheap. It's like $50 for a whole month. And the accommodation costs were expensive. It's like for a single studio, it's like 700 plus a month.
Halal food was never a problem in Berkeley itself because there's a lot. We have to look up. There's some restaurants who have their halal logo. So opposite my school, there's this halal Western food called Julie's Cafe. It's very accessible, so you just cross the road and you reach the place already. So I usually spend my lunch hour there to just eat the Western food. But surprisingly, there's Indian food, the Biryani House, and then there's Indonesian cuisine which is halal. There's Malaysian cuisine which is halal. So it was never lack of any home food because we could have our rendang, we could have our mi bakso over there. So as expected, since there's a lot of halal Muslim place restaurants over there, you expect a halal meat place. So there's one at San Pablo which is 20 minutes bus ride. So you can't walk there, you have to take a bus ride over there. But one thing I would advise is the place is quite dangerous. So because I think it's the hood of the place, so it's best for you to be accompanied with a group of friends to actually head down to the supermarket. But the people over there are quite friendly lah. So they will actually tell you, okay, this is as in the whole supermarket is halal, so they will tell you what are the different kind of meats available over there.
Yeah, it was pretty easy because there were quite a lot of halal butcheries. So you could get halal meat easily. The thing is that I didn't really buy food outside, so I would cook. So I'll just buy meat or chicken and I'll just cook. But like if you want halal restaurants, it's quite hard to find other than the standard Arab kebab, which is quite a few. No, they don't actually. They only put halal there. And actually it can be quite unreliable because they might actually lie about it being halal. Yeah. So usually what my friends say is you ask them 3 times. And like if you ask them once, they'll say it's halal. If you ask them like the 3rd time, then they'll be like and then they will like, oh, this is halal but this isn't halal. So they'll specify. Yeah.
We will definitely adjust very well over there because it was summer, so it was chilly. It was not really hot. Yeah. So it was probably around 14 to 17 or 20 degrees. So it's very cold. So early in the morning, whenever I go to school, I will just bring a jacket on because it's quite chilly in the morning. So my house was on top of the hill. But as the day goes by, it gets quite hot. So I think it's not that humid in Singapore. Yeah.
When I was there, I experienced summer, fall, and winter. So in summer the temperature is about 25 degrees. Then in fall it was about, it depends, it's like about 12 or less than 20. And in winter it can go down to negative 20. So yeah, in summer it's very nice, like it's not humid at all, it's very nice and dry, then you don't sweat. And in fall it's very nice also, and like the trees are just like colourful everywhere. I said there was this Malaysian lady who came down to Singapore, right? Okay, I stayed with her friend, who lives like 2 minutes down the road from her. So this lady shared her apartment with me. She let me take the bedroom and we split the rent in half. Yeah, so I stayed with her because in Montreal it's hard to get a lease for less than a year because the leases last for 1 year. So if you can only stay for like 6 months, they usually don't want to give it to you. So that's why it's good to stay with someone or stay with people who are staying longer. So you just leave. But if that's the case, if you stay with people who stay longer and you leave halfway, you have to get someone to replace you. Basically, at least for my course, I could match whatever I wanted within psychology. Like as long as it's a psychology course and I haven't taken it before in Singapore, I can just choose it and then the psychology department will just accept it because they are okay with you taking courses that they don't offer in NTU, because that's the whole point, that you get to do things that NTU doesn't offer.
I cleared 2 of my modules over there because it's summer school. It's only 6 weeks, so you can't clear like 6 or so. So I only cleared 2. So one is my major PE itself, which is my econs, which is international trade, and then my another one is our bodies ourselves. That's an elective.
Yeah, there was like an international students association or something like that, but I didn't really get involved in that. I was mainly with the MSA, and the MSA was really like very supportive. And actually, there's also like Malaysian and Singaporean association, so they would update you on stuff that like events that where the Singaporeans gather, in Montreal.
Firstly, I think try to join the MSA Facebook account so that you roughly know what's happening in the school itself. Secondly, I went to Zaytuna, which is just in the heart of Berkeley, so it's very convenient. Thirdly, it's I went to Taklif Collective, which is in Fremont, California. It's not in Berkeley itself, but you need to rent a car, and then it's a 1.5 hours or 2 hours of drive to Fremont. And it's Taklif Collective. It's a non-profit organisation by Ustaz Usama Cannon. So I tried to make an effort to go there every Sunday because every Sunday they usually have a weekly talk called Living Right. So it's a good environment whereby all the Muslims from different parts of California will gather together and go to Taklif Collective with their families and their friends and their relatives. And then Usama Cannon will give his talk for 1 hour and then solat Jemaah together for Maghrib and then continue his talk again. So I feel having that reassurance, having a family in amidst this whole American society, it's something that you will treasure more when you're over there. Yeah.
My advice is just be prepared before you go, like as much as you can, because a lot of things might not happen the way you want it. Like accommodation, you can start looking for it beforehand, but it's also very good when you get there, you see the place like with your own eyes, because you don't know what it's actually like unless like you have someone who's already in the country who's looking out for a place for you, and then at least you can trust them. Another thing is you always get involved with the Muslim association if there's one, and be open-minded, because you like even within the Muslim association there are many different kinds of people. Also don't just stay with like Singaporeans. If possible, like just hang out with the international students as much as you can, because in Canada itself, almost everyone was an international student, like whether they are from Brazil or UK or America. So they are all there like without family. So everyone's actually very open to each other.
Don't be afraid to have to go to exchange alone, because you know that when you go there, as in you know that Allah will always be with you. So no matter what, Allah will always be with you no matter wherever you go, and Allah will actually bless you with different kind of opportunities to actually meet different kind of people. The people that I meet at Judy's Cafe, the aunties and uncles over there were very welcoming and were actually pleasantly surprised to know that I'm from Singapore and I'm Muslim from Singapore. So they were quite welcoming, and you meet different kind of people. So don't close your doors to different kind of opportunities, especially when you go alone. You will open all doors to meet different kind of people. So just don't be afraid to have to go to exchange alone.